It is my privilege to welcome Sarah Chitongo. Sarah Chitongo is one of our authentic women and someone who has just done some amazingly phenomenal things within our community. Sarah, before we get into what's happened over the last 12 months, please take us back further than that and tell us about who Sarah Chitongo is. Tell us about Sarah growing up and where does this story actually begin?
Firstly, thank you so much. This has been the most humbling experience I've ever had. To be acknowledged in my own community is not something I take lightly. I'm deeply honored, and thank you to Dr. Sarah Garande and Dr. Jamie for honoring me to come back and speak about what's been happening. So firstly, who is Sarah Chitongo? I am a nurse and a midwife. I'm Zimbabwean, obviously. And I came to the UK when I was 18. But before that, growing up, I witnessed how women were the center of villages, communities, strength, and people who were so resourceful. So I watched that growing up as a young child. And I became so passionate about women, passionate about women's health, passionate about wanting to see women do well, because there's some things in life where we have to be given opportunities. Coming over to the UK, I trained as a nurse and a midwife. And in all my training and my practice, I always wanted patients or women who encountered me to have the most positive experience. Now, my work is moved by two things, and I'm going to tell you these stories very quickly because I will honor the time. There are two women, one is a woman, one is a girl, but they deeply honor all I have done. Before I go into it, I want to acknowledge my very handsome husband, Dr. Paradzai Chitongo, who's in the room. This man has been phenomenal. Amongst all the story of everything, I met and we married and we managed to have 4 beautiful children. And I am so grateful to him for all the support. He's really shaped me and made me in terms of living the dreams and passions I had as a child. So I remember telling him about what I wanted to do. And it was at a time when we also had nothing. But he was like, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. So going back to these two people I want to sort of acknowledge on this stage. The first, her name is called Grace. Grace I met when she came to our maternity unit when she was in labor. And Grace was Ghanaian, beautiful woman. And I remember her birth was progressing really well. And I unfortunately had to leave because it was end of shift. But she brought such vibrancy and she had her Bible and such a strong believer. It was her second child. And when I went home, I remember before going home, she looked at me and she said, I love the spirit you carry. You carry something in you which I've not seen somewhere else. And those words remained in me for a long time. When I came back in the morning, I'm sorry. Grace hadn't made it. And the reason I do all I do is because of Grace. and every black woman who deserves to have the most safe pregnancy, safe delivery, not just in the UK, but globally. So I deeply honor Grace. The second is a girl called Aliyah, 14. And she came to me with, her mum had gone through the GPs and so much of healthcare, trying to get answers. She was a 14-year-old experiencing heavy bleeding and period pains. And I'm so glad we've got men in the room today, because some of these things do affect your daughters. And it's good when you sort of are aware. And her mother was seeking answers. And she came to me not as a clinician, but as a source of help. And Grace that day had missed 11 days of classroom time because she couldn't go to school because of pain. And she looked at me and she said, Auntie Sarah, is this going to be my life? And I said, no, it's going to stop. These two are the people that have influenced everything I have done in my profession. I've never looked away from it. Yes, there have been periods where it's been really slow, but the commitment has remained. So I'm deeply grateful to be given an opportunity to speak about the work that I've done. But what's more important is probably what you're going to ask in the next few minutes.
Yeah, so you and I are going to have to share a mic, eh? Yes, yeah. We'll just keep doing this. We don't mind doing that, do we? Yeah. So this time last year, you were sitting in this very room when we did the commissioning service. We had Prophet Christine, we had Dr. Thelma Shalanke in the room, and we did the commissioning service. Take us back to that night. What did you walk into the room carrying? And what did you walk out carrying? What happened that day? Because a few times after that, you and I would bump into each other in different rooms, which is why it was important to me to speak, because we could never complete the conversation, because then someone will come in and talking to you, talking to me. But what happened?
For anyone who's new here today, like I've said, 23 years in maternity and women's health service, and I walked in tired. I'll be honest. I walked in tired because I was tired of seeing the pain women were going through. I was tired of the maternity mortality rates, which weren't improving. But when I got to that gate, that door out there, I felt like I'm going to be asked to do something so big that I wasn't ready for. When you and the team prayed for us, I think I received, I can't remember, one of the pastors, you were there. Yes, I was standing there. You were standing there and I came through. And you did this commissioning where there was oil, and we put oil, and we were told, go and sit back in your seats and pray. When she put the oil on here, I felt something in my belly, this fire. And then something shifted in my spirit. And you know, when you're a clinician, you really want to understand what was that. But there's no name. But in the spiritual world, you know as a Christian that God has just done something incredible. And that's what happened that day. What then happened was I felt a permission was granted to do big and great exploits in women's health. And I came here, I was a Queen's nurse. I was a Mary Seacole awardee.
No, don't rush over that.
Okay.
Just go again. Yeah.
I'm also a pioneer of augmented reality, which is the highest form of technology in education. That's something I created. Don't ask me, I'm not an IT person. I'm a midwife who had a solution to a problem.
Because, Sarah, you've actually just stepped into my next question. So I'm going to ask it and then you'll answer it in its totality. I was going to say to you that within the 12 months since we were last year, because we have our conferences this date every year. So if you're coming next year it's the 15th of May, 2027. And Mrs. M said we need to do 2 days. So it's 2 days next year. Amen. But within 12 months of that commissioning, you founded a charity, you've built a digital health company, you've launched a femcare brand, you've walked into Downing Street, you've contributed, listen to this, guys, you've contributed to the most significant maternity investigation of our generation and ended up advising countries on maternal mortality. You know, when we list it like this, it almost sounds impossible to do something like this in a period of 12 months. Sarah, is this feasible? Is this doable? Is this real? What happened?
Like I said, the clinician wants answers, right? How is that possible in 12 months? But I always take it back to the commissioning because God granted the permission. I was given an assignment and I said yes. And what I saw was a propulsion which was greater than I ever thought or imagined. Now, I'll list some of the things because some of it I do forget unless I'm like looking at some. So, when I left here, within 2 weeks, founded the charity. Within 4 weeks, I was handpicked by Downing Street to come and speak about this work I'm doing. And shout out to Iris because she's the one who said, Sarah.
Which one? Iris midwife? Please stand for a second, Iris. Listen, no, please keep standing so they see you. This woman is a champion. Mrs. M, this woman is a champion in our community. Her name is Iris Chirisa. And we call her the business midwife. And such a connector and such an amazing woman. Feisty, but just an amazing woman.
You know, the beautiful part about this community we have here, Limitless, is we're sisters keepers. And we don't gatekeep. And she saw a post and she was like, oh my God, you've been to Down Street. Please, you need to put that on the group chat. We've got group chat. And I have to hand you your flowers. I'm grateful for just the acknowledgement. The charity itself, for it to come into existence, I had to approach individuals to walk alongside because it needed a governing structure. There's another lady in the room, 2 of them, who have followed on the cause. Minister Emily and Dr. Nyasha Sigauke. Please stand. Please stand. This is the power of this room. Emily said, Sarah, I hear you. I understand this problem. Put me as the director of your company as well, if that's what the governance structure is required. And she walked alongside us. Thank you. Dr. Nyasha is a medical doctor. She is our medical advisor. So all we're doing, we're not just talking. we're creating a system change. Emily is a governance midwife, one of the top governance midwives in the country. So we are bringing about change, and watch out because we're not stopping. Thank you. And in all of this, we've had so many opportunities. I was called by the top police commissioner of the country. I didn't even know he existed. And he said, you need to come and speak to the women because we've got some black police officers, maybe these issues. And I was like, bring the black, but I also want the white officers in the room too. Because they need to hear some of these disparities that are around. I also was asked to be part of the committee for developing this is going to become quite an incredible tool for doctors and for midwives, but it's pioneering. Sometimes I'm lost for words. These are top engineers in the country. There's a Royal College of Obstetrician and Gynecologists president who's there. They called me. I'm just like, I'm Sarah Chitongo. They're like, no. And that's one thing I've learned in the 12 months. I'm not just. No. And this is the language I've had to learn. When you're around certain people, there's certain language you cannot use anymore. So I walk into those rooms. You might be super intelligent. You might be the top whoever. But I'm there and I'm relevant in that space and you're going to hear me. Because I'm bringing the truth of all the black women's experiences, voices into those rooms. So I'm also grateful for the community. I think Chipo, she's always been pushing through. I'm thankful. Anything that is to do with maternity, she will push through. I know I'm probably going off script. Maybe okay. You've taught us I'm sorry.
We don't mind off script. Your mentor taught you the way.
Yeah. So I think what happened in the last few months was I had to knock and push for doors for 23 years. In the 12 months, the doors just opened. There's no door I've had to knock on. They have come knocking to me. And I've had to say, Dr. Nyasha, do we have capacity? Emily, do we? That's the power of God. And I've had to speak in a way where I do not apologize for the size of the assignment anymore. I'm there for a purpose. I've been commissioned, purposed. And the propelling effect, I must say, I will be very honest in the beginning. You know, when she talks about this Ndandi thing, she spoke about it extensively at the last. But when you're sitting in that tool, it also can be quite overwhelming. Because I kept saying, am I prepared? Am I ready? There was a day I met you, Sarah, and I was in tears. And she literally had to hug me. Because I was like, the speed at which this is taken off is just astronomical. And she prayed and she said, Sarah, God's got you. Dr. Jamie patted my back. And this man, Dr. Paradise, he's been taking on all the, when something's taking off, it's either there's a lot of smoke which is behind it or whatever. He's had to be picking up a lot of the stuff. So I'm deeply grateful.
So looking ahead, you're launching the Vina app globally now. I know
Yeah.
you were in Qatar, you were in the Middle East
Yes.
and the UAE
Yeah.
a few months ago.
Yes.
You've been to Qatar, you've been to Edinburgh. Um, Bite Labs, the Amos recommendations, rolling out. What is this? More books in motion. What do the next 12 months look like? And just talk about, what I touched about, Vina app globally, and you going to all of these places that you've just been literally like hopping and flitting about. And
Yes. Yeah. So, Vina app is the story behind Aliyah, the 14-year-old. Because what I've realized is women, we suffer from painful periods, heavy periods, missed periods, all sorts. And I love these conversations because we have grown in a culture where we don't speak openly about it, but we should, because there's nothing wrong or embarrassing about that. But the app, what it serves to do is to create and what we've had as experiences for women is they go to the GP. I'm sorry. But they go to the GP and they have 10 minutes to be able to explain symptoms that have happened for the past 4, 5, 6 months in a 10-minute appointment. And I'll break down that 10 minutes to you. Dr. GPs in the room. The 10 minutes is framed as 2 minutes the GP is switching on his computer, sometimes, or reading through your notes in front of you. The next few minutes is him trying to then understand from you what's been happening. And what happens in that space when someone is typing, you get very confused. So the experiences of dismissal and non-answers have perpetuated for years. At the moment, to get a diagnosis of endometriosis, fibroids, or adenomyosis, it currently sits at 9 years, 4 months in the country. And if you're black, it's 11 years. And this is because, if you look at it, some of the women have had 20 appointments back and forth to the doctor. In between that, infertility, issues, all sorts happening. And you get extended complex problems when things are left untreated. So what we're trying to do is reduce that number. But I'm grateful because what then happened is the propel effect.
yes.
The Department of Health contacted me last week. Sarah, we need you on the table and your answer and your product here with us. Because it's about trying to bring about change. 9 years, 4 months, or 11 years is not acceptable. And we need to challenge and change that. So the next 12 months, what does it look like? It looks like we are going to tackle some of the biggest problems we've had in this country, and we're tackling them head on.
Come on.
Firstly, with Vina.
Yes.
Secondly, Black Blossom Alliance, our charity, which is tackling all the maternity disparities and inequalities that are happening in the country. And beyond, we've been contacted by about 15 countries. Extended problems there too. But I know we can do it. I'm a limitless woman, a child of God.
You know, you wouldn't know this, but this is all particularly, it resonates with me because for the longest time, until 2021, when I had to have surgery, I used to miss 3 to 4 days every month of work. It's part of what inspired us to go into business for ourselves in 2001, because I would go to work. How many times in an organization can you take 3 days off because it's so heavy that you're bleeding? and you spoke about not feeling heard. I felt very much unheard. So I'm in and out, and I'm being sort of like bandied about, but no solution. And we haven't even touched on what the toll it has on you as a woman, on your confidence, because you're dealing with things that you're thinking, for crying out loud, this is like 2020, 21, 2026. How can this still be such a problem? And then when we were in Dubai 2021, I had surgery, and for me that was the best thing I'd ever done. I wish I'd done that earlier. But I thank you for the work you're doing for all the women like where I've been, but for those who are still in that space right now, because you're giving them a voice, you're giving them visibility, and you're bringing right to the fore, and from what it looks like, refusing to remain invisible and muzzled and unheard. And we thank you for that. We thank you for that. Give us some parting shots.
I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to, firstly, my family. And then I'm just grateful to Christ for what he's done in my life. I, at one point, had to say, "Are you sure, Lord, me?" And he said, "Yes, you." For those who've come today, my story is just a testimony of the power of God. But it's also a testimony of what is possible for yourself. I walked in through those doors. 23 years I'd been struggling to get my work on a platform which it could really make huge impact. And 12 months literally did that. So if you're here, I always say to some women, stop interviewing yourself for these roles. We carry around this disqualification panel. Wrong job, wrong color, wrong accent, wrong this. You disqualify yourself. I am a midwife, but I'm sitting in places with ministers, politicians. I'm sitting in rooms, literally I was telling you, Google has contacted me. They want a piece of me. I said, "You want a piece of Christ?" So for any woman who's here today, please believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If God is speaking to you about doing something, yes. Yes. And yes again. Thank you.
Sarah, thank you. We are so thankful that you get to come and share this with us. And I hope people are hearing. And remember, today we're speaking to more than just the women. We want to go back, the men and the women inspired, but also activated to step into everything that God has called them to do. Thank you for being an example. I think one of the things I love about you and your husband, you're very quiet and very calm, very unassuming. And so people will think, but just the grace and the impact upon your lives is just beautiful to watch. You're a formidable couple. Please keep doing what you're doing. And remember, as you do it with legacy in mind. That's a mandate for all of us. We're excited to watch this space. And yes, do you want to talk about them?
I've just recently published a book that was 2 days ago. So this is period pain, endometriosis, fibroids, adenomyosis, and fighting for better healthcare for women. I believe this is a tool alongside Vina, the digital health platform, that will definitely transform the narrative for women. Our our pain stops. God is in this. For our daughters to be, we have the duty to protect them. And I feel God is speaking so strongly to me that for women to make impact in communities, we need to also resolve some of these underlying problems.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So as we finish and as we get off the stage, this year, everyone knows we've done it for the first time. Our first recipient was our beautiful Mrs. M. We have a small gift for you. This is a Limitless tradition that we are beginning. And we're using those within our community who are allowing themselves to be amplified. One of the things we always say is, don't come back next year if you're not prepared to put in the work. This is not a photo opportunity. I'm sure some people can actually parrot me now, but this is a place where we come, we listen, we grow, we get sharpened, but we go out and we do. So that when we come back and we're networking, we're saying, my friend, just like the way you were talking about Iris and, Emily and saying, we're opening doors and networking and the synergies and the collaborations. So this is our way of appreciating you. Jordan, please come and make. So this is different to Mrs. M's. Mrs. M's was a legacy award. Yours is the Dandy anointing because you were. And so this is being awarded and presented to you for a transformative year, marked by rapid growth, elevated performance, and undeniable excellence. We, your community, celebrate you. Thank you.